All right, welcome everybody. This is our second annual Universal User Group reInvent recap, which I've either had enough caffeine to say or not enough caffeine to say. It's hard to say. So yet again, we are excited to have Darko Mesaros here. He's a principal dev advocate from AWS. I don't know how he does this in 2 hours, but he is the man. Darko, before we get going, it is my understanding that you are going to be on another North American tour, if not world tour. Is that true?
Yes. So if you followed along last year or been part of it, we've done this. My friend Aaron and myself did this kind of a North American tour where we've driven from Boston all the way to Detroit, no, to Chicago, and it was fun. It was amazing. I got to see all of you. We're planning for something more like that this year, so stay tuned and stay tuned to learn what the locations are. But we would love to see you all in person and discuss stuff and talk tech and code and Rust and whatever you want.
Of
So,
course, Russ.
of
Everybody
course, Rust,
drink.
yes.
Darko said Russ. Time to drink.
I think at
And
reInvent
Darko,
there was somebody had a question, like there was a panel question, what's Darko's favorite language? And I don't know, people said Rust, so yeah.
uh, so was it aaronanddarko.com? Was that the website?
AaronandDarko.com. AaronandDarko.com. I think the website is still up. So if you go to
Awesome.
AaronandDarko.com, you should see it. See the experience from last night.
Everybody follow that. And if you don't follow Darko on all the socials, please do so. So we've got a lot of content and not a lot of time. So I'm going to stop blah blahing and hand
Yes.
it over to Darko. Thanks
Yes.
everybody for joining. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much. Yes, friends, we have 2 hours, and I fully understand that not all of you are going to be here for 2 hours, or you're going to zoom, kind of fade in and out, and that's fine. Not everything is of interest to you, and that's fine. I have 200 slides of things to talk about, and they're pretty dense slides. I will have some demos. I will not have some demos. So we're going to go through a bunch of things. I'm not an expert in all of these releases. I'm aware and what they are and how they impact us as developers. But if I don't know something, I just don't know something, but I can find you the person who does. So if you're specifically interested in a specific thing, we can talk about it. I see the chat in real time, so I can answer your questions. So feel free to drop the questions in the chat. Definitely super happy to see all of you, 62 participants. Glorious. I know there are some people who are at watch parties, so shout outs to people at watch parties. I do wish we could do a one big in-person meetup where Kathy pays for all of our trips to a place and we can all do a big old recap somewhere. But so far, Zoom is our friend. So let me, first of all, hi, my name is Darko. If you don't know who I am what they call these days a developer advocate, which means I get to talk to you, the developers, the builders, the engineers, about everything and anything around cloud, AWS infrastructure, serverless operations, Rust, and everything in between. I've been working for AWS for actually in less than a month, it's going to be 10 years. There was no code deploy when I joined AWS. There was no SageMaker, so a long time ago. Um, and this is actually my sixth annual recap. I've been doing these for 6 years now, both in person and virtual, but I'm super happy to do this big one. So hello to all the folks out there. Yes, my red badge is definitely coming in soon. I get to flaunt the red badge soon, which is a thing at Amazon. Okay, so let's start with this thing, and it may sound at points that I am just speaking way too fast, but trust me, there's so much. So I'm gonna skim over certain things that I feel like are less important. So, but we're gonna find a way to get you this resource and as a PDF so you can actually review it after the fact. But please do entertain me, and staying here and listening for me talk to you. Okay, so we're doing recap. Yes, reInvent recap by me, Darko Mesaros, a developer advocate from AWS, and just a little bit of housekeeping before we kick it off. There's going to be a bunch of little graphs and legends and whatever, like little icons on each desk, on each slide, which will give you the sense of like, has this been created? Is this GA generally available? Is this public preview? Is this gated preview? Or is this coming soon? So not all of these things are generally available right now, or some of them just went into general availability. So keep those in mind. If you it will make sense, but if you need to, take a screenshot right now. Additionally, there will be a bunch of QR codes on the screen. So if you want to read the blog about what I'm talking about, there's going to be a QR code somewhere in that corner of the screen where you can go and just point your phone at it. And so get your phones ready as well. Um, I want to give a huge shout out to the folks building this deck. Some folks from my team, Wojciech and Mateus, were working super hard on building this deck. So shout outs to them. And this is a marvelous piece of, of PowerPoint right now. So let's continue. First of all, I want to explain what pre-reinvent is. I was hoping we're going to call it pre-invent, but it's pre-reinvent. It's basically a period of time. In this case, October 28th to reInvent, um, where we start launching a lot of cool things. So you will see a lot of features and services kind of come out pre-reInvent, things that we don't necessarily, well, I don't want to say have capacity, but people don't necessarily want to launch during reInvent, but come out before reInvent. And you will see a lot of those things are actually sometimes even cooler. So yeah, so if you see pre-reInvent, it just means some stuff that was launched just around reInvent. So, what is reInvent? It's basically our biggest conference. If you've never been there, it's a huge event where a lot of technical people, engineers, sales folks, people who are involved in the cloud or in the AWS in any way, meet up in Las Vegas. We learn, we talk, we network, we drink, we eat, we do all of those kinds of things, and hopefully learn more about what does AWS bring to you as an engineer, as a developer, so you can improve whatever you're building and working on. So this year's reInvent and a little bit of the numbers, we had 60,000, more than 60,000 people. We had 2 million people watching the keynotes online. We had 3,500 sessions, 3,000 speakers, many updates, many pre-reInvent launches, and of course, a lot of reInvent launches. And this big old deck with 332 updates. There's so much in this deck. So I think every year we should just publish this deck as a book or something. But yeah, um, there you go. Okay, I'll start with the keynotes, and I'll just kind of blaze through the keynotes. We had a grand total of five keynotes from Matt Garman, where Matt Garman was talking, of course, about frontier agents, basically new autonomous class of agents that kind of help you build stuff in your software development, stuff like DevOps agent and the Kiro agents and a bunch of other stuff that helps you in your software development lifecycle. He talked about Nova, the new versions of Nova, like the Nova Lite, Nova Pro, and Nova Sonic, and of course Nova Omni, these kinds of things. He talked about Nova Forge, basically the ability for you to create your own um, frontier AI model based on the Nova models. He talked about something that's quite interesting, AI factories. Basically, these are on-premises dedicated infrastructure for yourself for like building models. So, and a bunch of other stuff. There's been a lot of agent core things. Yeah, and ultimately, at the end, he did this thing where he went through 25 announcements in 10 minutes. So he did a big old speed run of announcements. I'm not gonna do that, at least not to the same extent as Matt did, but I do have a lot of announcements to go through. Next thing, Swami did a whole keynote about, of course, agents and strands and a bunch of generative AI stuff. And one of the things he mentioned is that we've expanded the strands capabilities, which I'll talk about in a second. But basically, now you can use strands not only in Python but also in TypeScript, which is a cool thing. We've announced the GA of Nova Act, and Nova Act is basically a service that uses Nova in the backend to perform computer tasks. Basically, it allows you to click on a website with an AI agent and do like some actual human-like stuff. So really cool. We brought in folks over from Blue Origin, and we brought in folks from Vercel to show up on this keynote. So it was actually a really good keynote. Ruba Borno talked about, of course, a lot of the partner stuff, and there's been a bunch of movements on the partner expertise. Like, for example, there's a new AI agentic competency for partners. There's additional features added to the marketplace, like multi-product solutions and express private offers, and even like an agent mode for the marketplace. Additional, migration acceleration and the stuff like that. So for folks out there who are in the partner world, you probably know all of these things are pretty much deep into what does it mean to be the partner in AWS in 2026. Um, we had Peter DeSantis. Peter DeSantis basically runs our, he's a senior vice president of the utility computing. Although he has changed roles since then, he's still in Amazon, but he covers the big Amazon AI stuff right now. So, but in essence, Peter talked to us about certain things like Graviton 5, which is the new generation of Graviton ARM-based CPUs, which is excellent to do. There's I think Graviton 3 supported like up to 192 CPU cores, which Graviton 5 now it can do 25% better compute and all that stuff. So I love to see I love to see that we're slowly progressing the evolution of Graviton because when Graviton came out, it was this like, I don't know, where you can use it for general workloads. I don't know, it's an ARM CPU, but it's been expanding excellently. And I do encourage folks out there who are considering workloads on EC2, consider Graviton. It get lower cost, but you will get really good performance. So, okay, moving on, Werner, right? Werner. Oh my God, one day I'm gonna be Werner. I'm bald. I have a beard. I just need to get older and a little bit more experience like Werner one day. But Werner basically delivered his 14th keynote of reInvent, and unfortunately, it is his last keynote. He basically said Werner is out, and he just peaced out. And yeah, that's kind of sad, but it's amazing. He always comes there and talks to us about the developer, the builder, the person who's actually on the field doing these things. And he talked about how um, how this recurring fear that AI will make a developer obsolete. It's an excellent it's an excellent discussion about how you as a developer, as an engineer, can benefit from all of these, like basically become a renaissance developer. And I have no skills to explain this as Werner did. Um, you can look at the keynote today on YouTube after this call, and see what he says. But definitely do suggest out there, all of us tech-minded folks, definitely listen to Werner to see what he has to say. Okay, ready? That's the keynote. Let's actually get into the recap right now. Let's go. So number one, there is. Oh, can you see? Can you hear this?
We cannot hear the
You
volume.
cannot. Okay, okay, good. I sure. There's a video about the AI ML League. I unfortunately I can't share the audio, but there's an AI ML League basically allowing you to win some money and learn some AI from anything from model customizations to fine tuning foundation models, and there's also an AI agentic challenge for you to participate in by using Amazon Bedrock Agent Core to basically build intelligent agents. So there's a prize pool of 50,000 bucks. That's the link you can scan if you want to participate in this AI league. It's always great for you to be participants in these kinds of things because it's well challenge you to do some things that you potentially wouldn't normally do, has a potential for you to win some money, but also gain some visibility. So definitely a good thing to do. And I also encourage anytime you see some sort of a league or hackathon, try to be part of it. Um, Let me move the thing. There we go. Okay, updates for the AWS Builder Center. So for folks out there, if you don't know what the AWS Builder Center is, it is a platform built in part by my team. Definitely a great place to read up on some good content, find good spaces, submit feature requests. But we have a couple of new features. We have this basically services and features mapping, which gives you the ability to search or determine if a specific feature is available in a specific region, which is fantastic. It's always problematic for me as an engineer to try to understand, okay, I'm going to build this in Sao Paulo, but like that feature is not available there. So that's thing. We have workshops. All of the AWS workshops have their own dedicated space right now on the Builder Center. So it's a really easy way for you to find those workshops. They're self-paced workshops you can go and do yourself. Spaces, which is basically kind of a mini social media feed. I don't want to call it a subreddit, but kind of smells like a subreddit, where you can talk about specific topics. So those are the latest two features. If you don't have a Builder ID and you haven't seen Builder Center, do so today. Yeah, well, yeah, do so today. That's the link. You can take your phone out and do stuff there. Okay, let's start with storage, migration, and transfer service. I have a storage medium here with old enough people know what this is. This is not a save. I don't think there was an ever a save button that looked like this. So if anybody's old enough to know a piece of software that used this as a save button, let me know. But let's talk about storage, migration, and transfer services. There's a couple of features, a couple of features coming in when it comes to S3. For example, folks out there who are using S3 tables, which is the Apache Iceberg implementation, there's now an intelligent tiering available for it. It basically gives you the ability to tier the storage intelligently. That means it's going to move it to different storage tier, cheaper to storage tiers for if depending on your access patterns. One-click solution to save you money. So if you have a S3 table and you have it in a specific standard tier or whatnot, storage class, you can enable intelligent tiering right now, and it's gonna move that data to a different tier depending on the storage class or on the usage patterns. S3 automatic preparation of Amazon S3 tables. This is basically just um, the ability for you to automatically replicate these tables across AWS regions, right? In the past, regions and accounts, because in the past you had to do these things manually. It's just now an automatic thing. So just a quality of life thing if you need to have an S3 table across multiple regions and accounts. S3 vectors. Okay, so this is not new. We announced this in July of this year, and now it's basically GA. So S3 vectors is basically a place where you can use an S3 bucket to store and query vector data. Up to this date, well, in just 4 months, we had over 250,000 folks, quarter of a million vector indexes ingested. Um, uh, quarter quarter of a million vectors indexed and ingested in more than 40 billion vectors performing over 1 billion queries. I have that number here. So definitely for folks out there looking into some vector storage, it's GA now. So there you go. You can use your S3 buckets to do this. Transform. Okay, Oops, no, that's not the one. Do I look at the wrong ones? Yes, sorry. There you go. Transforms. Storage lens. Yes. Storage lens. Basically, it's storage lens is part of the well-architected framework. It's just that some additional features to it, new capabilities such as like performance metrics and prefixes. There's a lot of stuff you can do in S3 buckets when it comes to performance, such as prefix sharding or partitioning. So just some additional features to this that are pretty cool, and folks out there who are using these lenses definitely should give it a look to the new features and enhancements if you've just recently done your S3 storage lens thing. Transform. Okay, so Transform is basically a agentic service, and we talked about a lot that accelerates transformation of Windows mainframe and VMware workloads. So if you are transforming stuff like, for example, from .NET to like .NET Core that's going to run on like some Linux systems, you can use these things. And what's great about these things is it automates these kind of repeatable transformations, for example, of version upgrades and whatnot. So you can upgrade a specific package to a specific modern version, like yeah. So TypeScript this or uh, it's not just in the past like just Java. So there's a lot of stuff. It is limited to specific things like Python, Node.js, and Java, but it's a thing that you should definitely go check out now if you're in the process of certain migrations and modernizations. Additional expansions to the .NET. Basically, you can do additional modernizations of .NET to .NET 10 and .NET Standard, additional UI porting, and a whole lot of things. So .NET has been a big thing when it comes to transformations, because you see a lot of folks trying to move .NET applications from Microsoft or Windows-based systems to Linux-based systems. So this is a really good thing. And this is actually available within the IDE. So if you use like Visual Studio and the AWS Toolkit, this is available there. ABAC. Okay, this is a new thing, and I actually will direct you to the link there in the blog post where my colleague Matheus explains to it. But basically, you have attribute-based access control. In essence, what does this mean? The way this works right now in S3 is you give permissions per buckets to people, right? For example, I have Brian Chasko here in the chat, and Brian, I want to give Brian access to a specific bucket, right? Or a specific set of buckets. In the policy of that account, I need to give specific S3 permissions on specific resources, right? what I can do right now, if I enable ABAC, is basically give specific access to specific buckets that have, I don't know, a specific tag to Brian. So creating a policy that allows Brian to read all the buckets tagged with whatever tag. So just a little bit more flexibility when it comes to these things, especially in the world of tagging. This is incredible, incredible good. So um, I see Franklin's asking. Tracy's asking, is there some partner stuff? There are partner stuff. I've intentionally excluded these things from partners, but there's like 5 or 6 slides for a partner specifically when it comes to marketplace, right? So I'm happy to share those things with you, Trace. If you want to have a look. Um, I think we can get those slides. Yes, I think we can figure out the slides. I know I shouldn't give you the slide deck directly, but I know there's Demario in chat probably will know how to share those things properly. So, um, does Franklin asks, does the entity being granted need to have permissions to view the tags? No, not at all. So because the permissions is actually being done on the other side. Basically, the permission itself looks just instead of the resource being a bucket, the resource is a bucket tagged with whatever. So yeah. Okay. Uh, there's going to be a bunch of post-quantum key exchange stuff. So a few announcements regarding post-quantum TLS stuff. So S3 basically now supports quantum TLS stuff. In essence, these are super hard, super strong keys in a post-quantum world where SSL or TLS keys can be broken. But yeah, this is a newly available thing. So for the future. Mm, Air gap database backup vault as a primary. In essence, you can backup stuff in a logically air-gapped vault. Like backup is a feature that a backup is a service that allows you to backup stuff on AWS, like from EC2 instances to EBS volumes. In essence, you can now default it to a logically air-gapped vault as a primary destination. For folks out there needing to have those things, the air-gapped stuff, this is a great thing because by default it just goes there. Backup now supports EKS. In essence, now the service basically allows you to backup use AWS backup to backup EKS. So up until now, customers basically what they need to do is use third-party services to to backup EKS. Right now, you can just use Amazon AWS backup for EKS if you want to back up clusters. So simple as that. KMS, CMK, KMS, or the Key Management Service, custom and managed key for air-gapped AWS backup vault. Up until now, you could encrypt the AWS backup vault with AWS provided keys, but now we give you the ability to use your own customer managed key. So if you bring your own key to encrypt the air gap vault, you can do so right now. That wasn't a feature up until now up until November 6th. Single action snapshot. This is again another quality of life feature where, in essence, what we do here is give you the ability to instead of having to do 2 things at a time, you just click one button, you make one action, and it both copying the snapshots and sorry. It's basically a single snapshot copy across regions and across AWS accounts, right? Previously, basically what you need to do is you need to copy stuff to a different region and then to a different account. Like you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it in a single thing, right? You have to copy to a region, and if you need to do it in a different account in that region, you have to then do it in a different account. It's just now a single action. Nothing crazy, but yes. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing this thing. Yes. Kathy says, if you send me a copy, I'll get it to the partner user group. Okay, good. I think I'll let Demario handle that, but yeah. Okay, conditional write-in copy. This is write-in copy for S3 for advanced applications where you need to basically perform. You can perform additional operations before you write. So you can basically verify before you perform a write in an S3 bucket, you can verify if the object exists or has been modified in the destination bucket before copying it. It just saves on transfer cost. It saves on a bunch of performance. So it's just this enable. It's a new feature that definitely helps out when it comes to performance on S3. There's a whole lot of additional announcements, which I just include the links here. So I assume once you go ahead and receive this deck, you're going to be able to access these things. But as you can see here, a lot of stuff. additionally, which I just don't have slides for. So yeah. And I'm sure a bunch of these things are useful to all of us. And that's the whole thing about reInvent is that, well, this whole thing about these recaps is that you just need to go in and go through all of them to kind of learn what's happening. Okay, computers and containers. Compute and containers. A bunch of stuff. Graviton 5 is in private preview. So if you want to go and test out Graviton 5, you can actually sign up for a private preview of Graviton 5 and see how they work. Do they perform for you? According to our folks, it's 25% better compute performance, better networking, EBS bandwidth. It's great. I love the progress on Graviton, so definitely check it out. There are TRN3 Ultra servers, basically AI training servers that it's a rack of pure computing power. They use the latest Trainium 3 chips. In essence, it's purpose built for training, reasoning, and all of these kinds of applications for training your next generation models. It's also in private preview. You can go and check out the link in the QR code down there. Uh, 304 is also it's coming soon. We just announced it, but basically we are iterating on our chips that are using for model training. Basically, we announced this a better performance, more memory bandwidth, all kinds of better. So stay tuned. It's only coming soon. Are you ready for an instance? AWS instance type with the worst name out there. It's fantastic. When I saw this slide, I'm like, yeah, this is a great name. Amazon EC2 X8 AEDZ instances. Yes, you read that right. X8 AEDZ instances are new AMD powered instances. I think there's an actual explanation what those things stand for. So A is AMD, E is extended memory, D is local SSDs, and Z is high frequency CPUs. So basically, new EC2 types available, powered by Intel, AMD 5th gen. So yeah, available to you. What's special about these things is that you get a lot more memory for less CPUs. So if you have an application that's bottlenecked by CPU licensing, and you need a lot of RAM, this is a good thing because you get a lot of like 3 TB of RAM with only 96 cores. So yeah, Elon named this instance. It does sound like something like we just need to find a way how to pronounce this Xades instances. So yeah, I'm sure the EC2 team loves me right now. Moving on. More EC2 P6 GB300 Ultra servers. Basically, these are just big NVIDIA racks. You can imagine what that's for. Private preview right now. If you have need for something that uses an NVIDIA GB300 architectures, a lot of GPUs, you can go check out the link there and speak to your team to get signed up. There's a couple of EKS capabilities out there. Continuous deployment with Argo CD, right? Resource management to ACK. We can do some infrastructure management. There's a bunch of other stuff when it comes to EKS and Argo and a whole lot of things. I don't want to get into this a lot, but ultimately it's meant to fix a lot of paper cuts, a lot of quality of life things for folks out there, developers that build on EKS. Interruptible capacity reservations. This is more of a cost optimization than anything, but in essence, you can have a capacity reservation that you can, if you're not using it, you can use it for something else, but it will be interruptible if the main workload that needs to use these capacity reservations needs it, right? So like you're able to when these capacity reservations are not used, it can be shifted over to something else. But then once you need them, it will basically interrupt the running process and put them in the ones that actually need them. So yeah, it's just a cost efficiency thing. Definitely check it out if you're using capacity reservations. Definitely a better way to use your reserved capacities. Provision control plane. Basically, now we'll give you the ability to have a provision control plane in EKS with specific tiering. In this case, simple as that. Just kind of taking away some of the handiwork out there. Just new tiers and stuff like that. ECS Express Mode. ECS is the most boring service AWS offers. I heard that a lot of times, but ECS works, and I love it as a container platform. So now just with ECS Express Mode, you can you can even simply create ECS clusters to run on, well, container clusters to run on ECS. So definitely out there for folks who are trying to build stuff on ECS. Highly suggest you check this thing out. Fully managed MCP servers on ECS and EKS. In essence, um, we give you the ability to run MC. Well, one second. Is this the one? Right. You can run these specific MCP servers uh, that help you with ECS and EKS on there. So yeah, it's confusing. There's very similar updates to MCP. There's going to be a bunch of MCP today, just so you know. So MCP for out there, Model Context Protocol. It's been using in all kinds of agents and LLMs and coding assistants. So yeah, it's public preview, so definitely go check it out. Uh, yeah, MCP, indeed, indeed. Um, AI-powered experiences for ECS and EKS. Basically, inside of the console, there's additional support here from Amazon Q. Basically, helps you troubleshoot certain things and just manage your ECS and EKS clusters. Uh, just quality of life stuff. Nothing too crazy, but we all see it, and you all see it in this little thing that's going on. There's an issue with a container. You can troubleshoot it. Yeah, just kind of helping you not have to Google things too much. Managed image signing for ECR. ECR is our Elastic Container Registry, basically where you could stay where you store your Docker images, container images, and this is just allows you can sign these images just for security reasons. You want to make sure that your images have been signed. Alex says MCP is very cool. Looking forward to hear more. I mean, there's so much about MCP we can talk about. There's been a bunch of MCP launches from AWS in this reInvent, and yeah, definitely thing. I do suggest you look into how MCP servers are built and used. I will talk about a couple of things here. Auto versioning. EC2 Image Builder, I remember when it came out, it's meant to replace, and I forget the name of the tool. There was this amazing tool that used to build EC2 images, and I'm blanking on the name right now. It was an open source tool name, open source tool, Packer, not Packer. Is it Packer? No, it's not Packer. I don't know. Somebody will tell me. But there was this open source tool that does it. But EC2 Image Builder basically helps you create EC2 images from various constraints, and in essence, the feature of this is just automatic versioning, basically it will bump up your versions as you update your images. Nothing crazy, but definitely a paper cut I do not like. What is this? Instance lifecycle policy for auto scaling. So just ability to control instance retention, additional lifecycle policies for auto scaling. Auto scaling is just an ability for you to auto scale EC2 instances based on demand and what other stuff. You can do some additional lifecycle hooks to an auto scaling group to perform custom actions when an instance enters a wait state, right? So, for example, depending on kind of development approach, you can for if an instance goes into a different state, like shutting down, you can do things like save the application state, properly close databases and whatnot. So yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. Graceful shutdowns in essence. Sometimes you don't want your instance to just go away once your auto scaling group starts scaling down. So you have some lifecycle policies, which is incredibly useful. Feels like a thing that should have already existed. Additional network observability tools in EKS. In essence, there's an additional set of observability features in EKS that you can use to better measure your network performance in your system. And in this case, like you can see here, visualize the landscape and behavior of network traffic in EKS. So more information on that, and it's GA. Archive storage for ECR. ECR, as I mentioned, it's the container registry where we store a lot of stuff, and sometimes you get to accumulate a lot of images there. So you can now have a archive storage class, which in essence you can use to reduce the cost of storage for large volumes of rarely accessed container images. So if you have volumes there that need to be accessed periodically, but you don't want to pay too much for them, the archive storage class is a good way of doing it. Yes. Angela mentioned the auto versioning of image builders simplified a few things. Also, hidden feature now is to automatically copy the AMI to another account. Yep, that is true. I don't think I don't think I mentioned that anywhere else, but that's a good thing. Again, those little quality of life improvements is what makes the world go round, I think. Okay. Supplementary packages for Amazon Linux. Folks out there who are using EC2, which we all do, right? It's just additional. It's basically a package repository called SPAL, where you can get additional packages. One of the things I was struggling always with EC2 Linux is that sometimes the package I really need is missing, like FFmpeg. So you can use this SPAL package to basically you install the SPAL package repo, and then you can use DNF to install additional packages there. It just makes our lives as EC2 server admins easier. So good. A lot more additional announcements here when it comes to compute and containers. I'm gonna just leave this up here, like you have new Mac OS versions out there, and um, yeah, M4 Mac instances if you want, and what do we have? More instance types and larger instances in Lightsail, and you can do stuff in Beanstalk. We have Beanstalk mentioned. I do love me some Beanstalk. You can do Credo 25 and Tomcat 11. Wow. Um, Fun fact, when I joined AWS, my job was to support customers using Elastic Beanstalk. So I do have a lot of love to that service and hate. Um, okay, moving on to databases. There's a couple of announcements and a couple of pre-reInvent stuff. Let's talk about a couple of things. Database savings plans. In essence, this is extended savings plans, allows you to reduce costs up to 35%. You can commit to like a consistent amount of usage, dollars per hour over a 1 year term. So by using these savings plans for predicted workloads, you can definitely make some significant savings. Now they're available to databases. I think this is a big deal for a lot of folks out there who have a consistent database usage and do not rely on serverless databases. So it supports Aurora, RDS, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, DocumentDB with Mongo, Neptune, key spaces, and TimeStream, and also the database migration service. We just improved some performance when it comes to OpenSearch, our open source service for vectors. Basically, give you a GPU accelerator. You can build a vector database in OpenSearch and make them 10 times faster at a quarter of the indexing cost when compared to non-GPU instances. We have vector index auto optimization that basically finding a balance between search latency, quality, and memory requirements for your vector fields without actually needing vector expertise. So folks out there using OpenSearch for vectors, you can do these things right now. It's available in 5 regions, US East 1, US West 2, Apex, so Sydney, Tokyo, and Ireland. Okay, agentic search in Open Search Service. Basically, we with the version with OpenSearch 3.3 availability, we are launching agentic search. In essence, it transforms the way how you users interact with your data through intelligent AI-driven, well, agent-driven search, right? There's an intelligent agent-driven system that understands your intent, orchestrates the right set of tools you're going to be using, and generates OpenSearch DSL, like domain-specific language queries that give you the search stuff. So in essence, you're using a little bit of natural language with an agent here to help you search through OpenSearch. Dynamic masking. Now, this is a cool feature for folks out there who want to mask certain data coming out of Postgres. So if you're using Aurora PostgreSQL, you can use something called, it's a feature of Postgres called PG column mask, in essence to sanitize output, right? You without any modifications to the data, you don't have a copy of your data anywhere else. It's the same data, but in essence, using PG column mask, it will just mask certain things. So like, for example, you see a rewrite query here that will fully mask an account holder name, for example. Yeah. So it's a very neat feature. It's available right now. So for folks out there, yeah, gotta love me some Postgres. So it's only available for 16 version 0.10 and up and 17.6. So just keep that in mind. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the feedback. New connectors. Okay, so this is something I actually wanted to demo, but I didn't have the time to, well, just dig deeper into it. So, new connectors for SQL, Aurora DSQL. If you're not using Aurora DSQL, you're missing out. It's basically a very scalable serverless Postgres database. It's built for anything from super tiny databases to incredibly large stuff. The way you would work with it is there was no password for it, like there's no stored password. You have to run an SDK call that will generate a token for you that will basically give you this token to authenticate to the database. What they introduce right now is they introduce additional connectors. It's just simplifying authentication for folks using Python, Node.js, and the JDBC driver. So it's just additional software features that allow you to do these things. It's really cool. For me, who uses Rust and Postgres, I still have to do it the manual way. I'm looking at the team and asking, where is my Rust connector? Yeah. So definitely cool feature. Makes it just easier to connect. So 100%. If you're using Aurora, check out the connectors. Another DSQL feature is a query editor within the console. In the past, you would have to use queries through like a pSQL application or like Bear or whatever you use. Right now, you can actually make queries to DSQL straight from the AWS console. It will perform the authentication for you and all those things. It is just built there, right there in. So excellent for troubleshooting, for certain migrations and whatnot. So yeah, simple feature, nothing too crazy, but definitely an easier way for you to interact with your database when you need to. Uh, Additional features when it comes to DynamoDB. This is the first DynamoDB announcements, but you can have primary keys composed up to 8 attributes in global secondary indexes, right? Previously, you could have basically your partition and sort keys were limited to 1 attribute each, right? Now you can do 4 attributes each for the partition and sort keys, right? You no longer need to like manually concatenate values into synthetic keys. You can just use more attributes. So it's a good thing. So blue-green deployments for Aurora Global. So when you have an Aurora global cluster, global database, you can perform maintenance and modifications with basically minimal downtime. You create a blue-green deployment, establishes a fully managed like staging environment, a green environment, mirroring the existing production stuff, including it's everything, all of the primary regions and the secondary regions of the global database. It will stay sync with the blue stuff, and then you can basically just flip over to it once you're happy with it. So yeah. An additional more announcements, a lot more storage for what is this clusters DSQL. You can do 256 terabytes of storage, which is insane. Um, um, some open search stuff, CloudWatch database insights, document DB, new version of it, MongoDB stuff. So yeah, plenty of things. Edge networking and content delivery. I think there's one of my favorite features here, and I'll get to it in a second. Just grabbing water. So it's a very important category. I think all of us depend on networking and content delivery and edge to an extent. So there's a couple of cool things that have come out. I mentioned this in the past, but AI factories, it gives you the ability to you as customers to train your own frontier models inside of your data centers. In essence, it's big old racks with training accelerators, GPUs, low latency networking that gives you the ability to train these frontier models in-house. It's generally available. So if you want to do this, I think ultimately you need to speak to your AWS account team to get to there. I don't think you can just purchase a thing online, but yeah, it's available. It's cool. Interconnect multi-cloud. I know this was a shocker when it came out. It's public preview right now, but hey, friends, do you have stuff in GCP? Yes, we do. You can connect now the AWS cloud with GCP directly. Well, in essence, we're currently we support Google Cloud, but AWS and Google Cloud, but there's more support coming up in 2026. It's just it's a fully managed connectivity service between AWS and whatever your custom cloud service provider is. In this case, it's GCP. So it's really, really, really cool. So uh, this is additional interconnect stuff. So this is in cooperation with Lumen. This is also private preview, but basically it's a last mile interconnect. It's allows you to connect your remote locations to AWS with just a few clicks. It's similar to Direct Connect, but it's not like connecting your data center to AWS, but just like your last mile locations. So yeah, it's it's great. Just additional more locations. It's currently in private preview, but if you're interested in connecting stuff through like PGP peering or whatnot, definitely an option for you. Couple of changes to Route 53. we have a public preview of a global resolver. Now, this is a internet reachable DNS resolver, giving you like a um, DNS resolution from anywhere from for authorized clients. Um, Gives you split DNS resolution, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, additional features available for Route 53. Currently in public preview, but definitely. Definitely important, right? So we did do some name changes. So Route 53 Resolver has been renamed to Route 53 VPC Resolver, just to clarify the distinction between those two. And the VPC Resolver actually continues to operate regionally with VPCs, right? That doesn't change, right? Um, Resolver provides this global resolver provides you an internet reachable global DNS for on-premises and remote clients. So, for example, if your on-premises clients need to talk or need to reach certain AWS stuff, you can reach them through the internet. Well, you can not reach them. You can resolve them through an internet accessible DNS. Accelerated recovery in Route 53. It's basically part of our DNS service that enables you business continuity feature that it gives you a 60-minute recovery time objective during service disruptions in US East 1. Um, it just makes sure that you can continue making DNS changes and provision infrastructure even during regional outages. So yeah, just additional safety. We all love US East 1, don't we? Network firewall proxy. Did that work the last time? I don't know. It just came out, so I don't know. There's a public preview of the network firewall. Um, Basically, if you control like a self-managed proxy, right? A lot of people do that, right? There's a self-managed proxy, but it is sometimes complicated to manage a container-based or EC2-based proxy service. In essence, this is just the ability for you to create a network firewall proxy fully managed for you. So yeah, really cool. Definitely a fan of these things. I used to manage. Does anybody remember Squid Proxy? Yeah, I used to manage Squid Proxy servers a lot, so that was fun. Um, there is support for MTLS in MTLS authentication for CloudFront, which is really cool. So that's an additional feature. It's just MTLS stands for Mutual Transport Layer Security. It's a method for mutual authentication that make sure that um, parties at each end of the network each end of the network connection are who they claim to be. So there's a support for MTLS here, which is really, really cool. Um, if you're using CloudFront and you need your specific IPs, there's an ability for you to bring your IP for any cast static IP addresses in CloudFront. Yeah, MTLS is helpful for public sector, absolutely, 100%. So you can bring your IP from your favorite local IPAM into CloudFront right now. So in essence, here's a little blurb. This capability enables network admins, oh, I love here network admins, network administrators to use their own public IP4 addresses, IP4 address pools with CloudFront distribution, simplifying IP address management across AWS's global infrastructure. VPC encryption controls. This is a feature that basically helps you enforce encryption in transit within and across VPCs. Uh, in essence, it enables you to either monitor or enforce VPC encryption, traffic encryption um, inside of your VPC, right? So definitely important. So it's just a feature you can enable, and you can, of course, monitor first just in case, um, or enforce. Basically, if you enforce it, it will block all unencrypted traffic, which is shenanigans, but it is important at times. So my fellow network admins, thread with care. More post-quantum key exchange in ALB and LB. Basically, the ability we have post-quantum TLS in application load balancers and network load balancers right now. Target optimizer for ALB. This is a new feature. So if you use an application load balancer, which is your load balancing, there's an ability now to install an agent locally on the target, on the instance that basically serves your application. And Target Optimizer can help, with the help of that agent, um, basically making sure that it involves the target details, additional details that it can extract from target inside of the load distribution. For example, you can specify the maximum number of concurrent requests that you want as things, and this agent basically serves as a proxy between the application load balancer and the application itself. So establishing long-term communication channels. So yeah, there's a bunch of additional features here that you can do with this ALB agent. So uh, it does require you to install an agent. I do think that the agent it can come default on certain things. I'm not sure yet. Don't quote me on that. But basically, it will require you to install another piece of software on your EC2 instance or your target. So, um, but it gives you a little bit more fine-tune, like the number of requests processed and whatnot. So, Cloud WAN routing policy. Basically, you can do route filtering, summarizations, and path manipulation to fine-tune management of your global networks. It's big boy networking stuff, but it gives you this ability to control BGP attributes, influence traffic behavior, and a lot of other stuff. This is from my Cisco days. So there's weighted targets in NLBs. In essence, network load balancers give you the ability to create weights on specific target groups. In essence, just distributing traffic in a more weighted way. So it's a cool little feature, which kind of I expected this to exist already, but there you go. There's regional availability for NAT. In essence, my understanding of this feature, I haven't tested it out, but you're creating a regional NAT gateway within a given region, which sounds sure. That's what the name says. But with this launch, you can create a single NAT gateway that automatically expands and contracts across availability zones in your VPC. That means you don't have to create a NAT gateway, in multiple places at once. It will automatically do that depending on your workload. So, I think it's a good way to also save on some costs. Cross-region connectivity with private link. You can interface VPC endpoints to privately and secure connect to AWS services in other regions with this feature called cross-region private link, or XRPL, which is horrible. You could Previously you could do private link only in intra-region communication, right? But now you can do a cross-region thing. So yes, of course, it's always great to do cross-region stuff, especially if you have an application that needs to sit across regions. So it is GA now, so you can definitely check it out right now. Yes, finally cross-region for private link. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I know. I agree.
Hey,
Okay.
Darko,
Yes.
I'm gonna I'm gonna just talk for a second so you could drink water.
Thank
So
you.
drink, drink,
Thank you,
drink,
Kathy.
drink. Everybody, if you could in the chat talk about where you're from. If you are joining from a watch party, give us some numbers that would super help us to keep this going. And God bless Darko for talking this long and this much. All
Wait.
right. Did you get enough water? Was that enough
I,
of a break?
I, I did. I did. I did.
Woohoo! All right. Back to the
Okay.
show.
Thank you. I'm halfway there. Well, am I halfway there? Roughly. So we still have stuff to do stuff. Oh, Luanda. Hey, Victor. Hi, Victor. Nice to see you again, my friend. Yeah, tell us where you're coming from. I see a lot of like San Francisco, Texas, Florida, and whatnot. So, excellent. Okay, I think one of my favorite features came out regarding CloudFront is this flat rate pricing in CloudFront. CloudFront is a beast. It's a thing that it's your CDN, but it gives you like web application firewalls, DDoS protections, and whatnot. But it can also be a beast when it comes to cost, right? It can scale to whatever size you want. Now you have like private pricing. Basically, you have a flat rate that gives you specific amount of traffic, anything from $0 a month to the free version to like $15 a month to business to premium. So depending on your application needs, you can kind of have a fixed cost to your CloudFront. So for folks out there who are concerned about CloudFront costs, myself included, I think this is a really cool way for you to kind of fix those costs, especially when you're building something out and you're like, okay, I feel confident enough now to switch to the pay as you go because I have sufficient traffic or income from this. So yeah. Quick pass-through for NLB. Quick is a protocol. Basically, Quick stands for. I think there's a explanation what Quick is. I'm trying to figure it out. But Quick is a new protocol that doesn't even. I don't know what Quick stands for. Q. I was hoping I had it in my notes, but in essence, it enables you to forward quick traffic to the targets with ultra low latency while maintaining session stickiness using quick connection IDs. So I'm not. I think that has something to do with HTTP 3, right? it's for those kinds of applications. Quick actually runs over UDP, so that's what makes it fast. But you can do quick pass through in NLB. JWT for ALBs. So JWT or JSON Web Tokens. Yes, I always thought JWT was Java, but JSON Web Tokens basically allows ALBs or application load balancers to verify if your JWT tokens are correct. So that's it. Like you don't have to do it on the application side. The ALB can actually perform these things. It's a great way to, especially for like service to service communication. So excellent way to do these things. There's a couple of additional selected announcements from, I don't know, DNS supporting private link to what else? We have new storage tiers for cloud Kinesis video streams and yeah, a bunch of other stuff that I don't have as part of my slides, but those are all of the network edge and um, what was the other one? It's the content delivery segment. Okay, moving on to analytics. Analytics was always my least liked segment because I don't know anything about analytics. Well, I'm not an expert in analytics, but anyways, so I'm gonna go through these things, but because there's a couple of very important stuff here. So there's additional AI-powered data classification in SageMaker. In essence, we sprinkle on some AI inside of SageMaker catalog, just so you can do some automated data classification that can suggest things like business glossary terms during your data publishing. In essence, it reduces the manual tagging you need to do to clean your data. Synthetic data sets in clean rooms. Folks out there using clean rooms, now you have an ability to generation of privacy enhancing synthetic data sets, right? In essence, you want to create synthetic data sets for machine learning training. So you don't necessarily want to give some sensitive data over to an ML if you don't feel comfortable. You can actually generate synthetic training data using this feature inside of clean rooms, which is great. Um, additional features for Iceberg in EMR. You can now support deletion vectors and row lineage um, as defined in Apache Iceberg version 3, right? So what is this? It gives you the ability to easily lineage specifically. It gives you the ability to easily track change records and improve performance for data modifications, right? So delete vectors are write optimized delete files for speeding up data processing and reducing the data compaction costs. While row lineage provides it gives you additional metadata fields on each records to track changes via SQL query. So row lineage is important in lineage is important in certain applications just to make sure that you know how the data has changed over the time. Glue Zero ETL for self-managed databases. You can have Zero ETL, basically Glue Zero ETL supports your self-managed databases. So if you run a self-managed database on an EC2, on premises, or even Redshift, you can basically do all of these kinds of things now with Zero ETL integration. Just additional feature to Zero ETL. Multi-warehouse federation in Redshift. Simple feature which feels like something that should have existed already, but you can have federated permissions between multiple data warehouses in Redshift, right? So we see a lot more folks adopting like multi-warehouse architectures for the sake of scaling and isolating workloads. And you need simplified, consistent permission management, and this is what that gives you. So good. Iceberg Catalog Federation for AWS Glue, just for managing data across disparate catalog systems, because it kind of becomes a major problem for organizations, especially in multi-vendor systems. So with Catalog Federation, you can query remote Iceberg tables that are stored both in Amazon S3 and cataloged in like remote Iceberg catalogs. You can use AWS Analytics Engine and without moving or duplicating any tables. So in essence, after remote catalog is integrated, AWS Glue always fetches the latest metadata and background, so you always have access to the Iceberg metadata through your preferred AWS Analytics services. So one-click dataset onboarding in SageMaker. SageMaker can now automatically create a project in its unified studio with all of your existing data permissions from the Glue data catalog, right? And lake formation and S3. So yeah, it's available in 15 regions, all 15 regions, which is great. Not sure if you can hear it, but there's a helicopter above my house. Okay, SageMaker Data Agent. This is a just additional notebook experience for folks out there using SageMaker notebooks. It's a built-in AI agent that helps you by generating code and SQL statements from natural language. It's just an additional feature that helps you build the things you need to build inside of SageMaker notebooks. Metadata rules for SageMaker catalog. This basically you can define some mandatory glossary term requirements, right? So when you're doing some data assessment during your publishing workflow, you can tell that your data producers must classify their assets with approved business terms. Yeah, so it's just additional control. You can now view Kafka topics in MSK. In the past, you actually had to do it through some setting up a Kafka admin client, but you can now view topics inside of the console. So this was an interesting thing where when we started releasing a bunch of these like managed services, and they were just like managed services with no endpoints. Like you just don't do anything on the AWS side of it. It just runs, and you have to use their built-in clients to do stuff like this. But yeah, you will see a lot more expanding with like I don't know the DSQL query stuff and now the ability to support viewing topics through the console directly. Um, Redshift now can write to Apache Iceberg, which is a really cool thing. You could before this reference Apache Iceberg tables from Glue catalog, Glue data catalog query. Basically now with this, Amazon Redshift supports SQL, DDL, or data definition language operations to create an Apache Iceberg table, show the table definitions, drop the table, and all kinds of stuff. So serverless deployments for option for MUA, or the MUA is managed workflow for Apache Airflow. So before this, there was no serverless option, but you can now deploy you can deploy Apache serverless workflows for Apache Airflow. So that's a really cool thing. So I see a lot more folks using Apache Airflow, especially since release 3. So definitely check it out if you considered using some data manipulation with Airflow 3. There's an additional increase of data payload for KDS or Kinesis data streams. You can do 10 megabytes record sizes. Yeah, that's it. Great. And there's a lot of additional selected things, right? Spark upgrades, new versions for Glue, and a whole lot of additional things. Okay. We're up to the machine learning AI and generative AI features. I think this is the biggest block because of course it is. But there's a couple of cool features that came out in here. So I'm gonna take a sip of water before diving into this because I think we are good on time.
I think you need more than a set. Like give it a good chug.
What a shock. Oh my God. Okay. I think I have something to show here as well. So we're gonna be doing that a little bit. I think we have time. We have time. Good. Okay. Reinforcement fine-tuning in Bedrock. You now this is an ability for you to do fine-tuning with reinforcement, right? In essence, we have a new Nova model that's gonna perform reinforcement fine-tuning, and reinforcement fine-tuning is just a feedback-driven approach where models are improving iterative based off of reward signals, right? In essence, it's just a better way for you to have more accurate models, be more accurate over base models. So it's a new feature that's generally available right now. And yeah, for folks out there creating fine-tuning jobs, you can now do reinforcement learning for them. Okay, strands agents. There is strands agents now. If you used strands agents in the past, it was only for Python. As a person who has an opinion about Python, I'm happy to see it in TypeScript, right? So you can use strands agents in TypeScript right now. There's a new SDK. It is in public preview, but you can basically do the same things you could with Python, but now in TypeScript. So I think it's simple enough. But I actually want to try to show this to you. So let's see if I can do something like that. I haven't prepared this demo, I do. So I'm gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna move this thing so I can see my screen. I'm gonna zoom in as much as it makes sense. Let's go to demos, CD demos, and let's do mkdir strands TS, right? Okay, so I'm going to create a file here called, let's do touch app ts. And I'm just going to look at my slide deck. Like I'm literally going to look at this thing. npm install add strands agents SDK, right? Um, so npm install add strands agents SDK. Is that the correct one? Yes, it is. Okay. And we're going to just run it. Simple enough. That's the beautiful thing about strands is that it is very simple for us to run. So if I just create a file here, agent.ts, and I'm going to import agent from strands agents SDK, um, import agent from strands SDK, and we just define an agent, which is great. An agent in this case is literally a thing that's going to talk to an LLM, and we're going to do agent, new agent. Um, const agent equals new agent, right? Like that, or like that. And then response equals uh, await agent invoke, and then just a question, right? Um, await agent invoke, and then a question. And we're going to say the question. What should we ask the question, right? Uh, here's my common question. I don't know why, but what is the capital of Mongolia? And then we're just gonna do console log and response, right? Is that how it works? I think that's how it works. I'm not a TypeScript expert. Console log response dot last message. Ah, okay. I need to do const. Okay. Const response dot last message. Okay. So if I do npx tsnode.ts, is this it? I I may need to check out the documentation. One moment, please. Uh, let's do strands TS. It's the only so much I can get from the screenshot here. So TypeScript quick start npm install da, 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 da. How do you run npx tsx npx tsx? That's the word. npx tsx app ts. No. Why no? Why no? Uh, transform failed. CJS. Did I fail something? What's wrong? Transmit error. Transform error. npx tsx app tx. Top level await is currently not supported by CJS output format. Sure. Okay. I'm not gonna give up, so give me one moment. I'm gonna make sure that we get this figured out. So if I do quick start, I'm looking at the quick start guide and the TypeScript, well, user guide, TypeScript, npx tsx. This is how it should work. Am I correct? Am I this should invoke um oh wait a second. Am I logged in? One second. AWS S3 LS. Would this work? Okay, I am logged in. Okay. And then nope. Why do you fail? Error top level awaits currently not supported with CJS output format. I am not NVM use 24, maybe that. This. That's it. There we go. So what's happening here? Well, what should happen here is well, not that, but still the same problem. Well, there we go. One day I will be a proper
Darko, did you see what Ryan said?
I did not see. I'm half seeing my chat. What did
He
Brian
said
say?
if you use require instead of import, it should work.
Okay, there we go. Okay, require. So just require, and I'm gonna assume uh, 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 is this how people do it? Unexpected. Isn't hmm, require. Is that okay? I don't think this is gonna work, but maybe it does. No, it's me. Let me just see the chat. I actually do. I do want to see what your people are saying. So, Rust. I know it's yeah. Enjoy Rust. Somebody who doesn't know TypeScript to do Rust. Um, uh, 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 Weird. I don't see all the chat. The chat is weird because I see half of the chat in my phone, half of the chat here. I don't know. Just add an unwrap. I know. I know. Maybe change type in module. Is there a package? Dependencies.
Chris said just add dot unwrap.
No, 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 unwrap is a Rust thing, so it's okay. They're just making fun of me. Um,
This is great. We need to do this
I
more
love it.
often.
I
I
love it.
love
Yes, yes, yes. But I will plow through this because it's supposed to be easy because I remember doing this, but it always confuses me because this is a app TS, right? So if I do TSC app TS, this should compile it. Oh, there's no TSC. MPX TSC
So
app TS, right?
Chicago Hive Mind
Okay.
said, has put something in the Q&A.
Okay, let me see. I don't see the Q&A. I see the Q&A. Okay, I see it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're a star.
Thank you, Chicago Hive
Uh,
Mind.
Vim, or I could have just used, um, where's the one? Answered or dismissed? Const agent require and then the thing. Okay. Require and then it should be at strands agent SDK, right? Would this be it? Cannot find name required. This is a TypeScript file, by the way. It's I don't know if it's supposed to be JavaScript or whatnot, but this is a TypeScript file. So maybe that's why it's angry at me. Um, See, like it doesn't even. Well, this is could be my also my little not TSC npx tsx. It could be also my little angry my Vim thing here. So I don't know. It's so weird. Um, you can also write it as a function and stuff. The thing is, I actually want. So I don't know if you see it, but here's the documentation. Here's the documentation, right? And I'm gonna have to speak to the service team if this doesn't work because this needs to work, right? npm install this and then this and then this. Maybe I need to, since I switched to versions, I don't think that's the problem, but if npm installs transagent SDK, right? And then I run um, vim appts, I'm gonna do import agent from that's fine. And then I will remove the require a new agent, and then just that, right? So this should be an agent, right? And then once again, let's run this like that. It's gonna be angry with me. So I'm sure if I would go and ask Kiro to help me, that would probably work, maybe. But uh Hero, yes, 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 yes. Shall we ask Hero? Okay, one second. By the way, don't tell the service team here, but my command for Kiro is still Q, just so you know. I'm so used to just hitting Q that it just works. Alias Q. Um, Instead of await rapid to promise. Okay, give me a second. My app TS won't work. Run it with npx tsx app TS and see the output. I know this is not why you came for, but maybe this is why you came for this live stream. So let me run your app. Yes, do it. Go for it. Go for it. Ship it, Kiro. See, broken? Tell me what's wrong. There shows something you top level away for it, but your TSX trying to compile it first. Module, yes, somebody was correct. Configure your project. Let's do it. Bravo. Who said module? Somebody said module. The person who said module, Giga, yes, Giga, thank you so much. Yes. Let's do this now. I only speak in cargo tone. There we go. It worked. Okay. Um, Giga, you get something. I don't know. We'll get you something. Thank you so much. But there you go. In essence, I want to explain the code here for a second. The code here is you're creating a new agent. By default, it uses Bedrock, but Strands can use whatever you want. It can use like local LMs, I can even run OLlama stuff, OpenAI, whatnot. And just I'm invoking the agent with a question and it just responds. That's it. Super simple. The community does indeed always win. Okay. Okay. Back to the thing. Where's my PowerPoint? Perfect. Okay, let me just move a bunch of our stuff around again and hide the Q&A. Thank you, chat. You're a star as always. Oh, I don't know what I would do with chat without chat. So okay, moving on. SageMaker serverless model customization. Now you can use SageMaker. Basically, you can customize AI models such as Nova, DeepSeek, GPTs, OSS, open source version of GPT, Llama, and Quen, and you have this serverless customization options for it right now. So excellent. Checkpoints. So for folks out there who are using training in SageMaker and Hyperpods, you can have checkpoint list training. And this little thing that's showing up on screen is a really good example of it because with checkpoint list training, it's actually way faster to recover from a problem. Because in the past, when you had checkpoints, if something went awry, you actually had to stop the whole thing, or basically not the whole restart, but you had to restart every pod with the different data distribution and whatnot. So in essence, it made it way slower if something went wrong. Checkpoint list just keeps on chugging because it just works, right? So um, there's additional elastic training for Hyperpod. This is in a similar fashion. In the past, with Hyperpod training, you have this specific set of pods that you run training on, and anytime you have to increase that number, there needs to happens a bunch of additional configuration. You basically reconfigure the training job. With elastic training, you don't have to worry about that because it can scale up or contract based on the needs, and you don't have to worry about any of those things. Nova models. Okay, there's a bunch of Nova models coming out. Nova 2 Lite is basically a price performance model. It is your haikus. It is super fast, super cheap model that does like step-by-step reasoning. So it's available right now. You can use it at Amazon Bedrock, and I think you can use it on like one of those Nova platforms as well. So yes, has a 1 million talk token context window, so it's pretty good. It has web grounding, and I'll explain what web grounding is in a minute. Nova 2 Pro is in private preview. It is the big version of Nova. It's the most intelligent reasoning model with again thinking capabilities. It is currently is in private preview. So if you want access to it, you can actually request it. It supports like this extended thinking, step-by-step reasoning, task decomposition, a bunch of other additional features that make the model actually work better. Nova 2 Omni, it's a multimodal model that does a bunch of stuff like text, image, video, speech, whatever, and it can output both text and images. So it has a very wide context window as well. So it's pretty neat. I think there's going to be more and more needs for multimodal models that support all kinds of stuff. Nova Sonic has been a very popular model. It's basically an ability to, it's a speech model. So now we have a Nova version 2 of speech model. So it's really good for natural real-time conversations. I do find myself building tools that I can talk to. Well, not necessarily talk to, but like if I'm troubleshooting, not even troubleshooting, I'm brainstorming an idea I want to do. I usually like to, press a button and talk to some magic thing in the cloud and just kind of take down on my notes. So yeah, Sonic 2 is great for that. Nova Forge, I mentioned this, but this basically gives you the ability to build your own frontier models using Nova, right? You can develop these new models on SageMaker, but in essence, it gives you the ability to create your own frontier models. And frontier models are specific models for specific tasks, which I'm actually going to come to a couple of them as well. But it gives you the ability to kind of like train these models on your data and some existing data sets from Nova. There's a general availability of Nova Act. And Nova Act is, I mentioned this in the start, it basically gives you the ability to have Nova click on things. In essence, it renders a desktop and it can do certain actions like, use a browser and whatnot. So it's the computer use element of things. So it's now GA, and it's a great thing when you need to interact with services that are not API driven. So like order a pizza from your local pizzeria that doesn't expose an API. All pizzerias should expose APIs. Uh, Policy in Bedrock Agent Cores. It's in essence just it, it's using Cedar policies to create guardrails for tool calls, right? So, for example, if you have a tool call in Agent Core that lists a bucket, but you do not want it to list a specific bucket or these specific things, Cedar policies can actually prevent that. So, yeah, it's a great way. You can actually write these Cedar policies using natural language within the Agent Core stuff, so you don't have to necessarily know Cedar by yourself. Also, if you don't know what Cedar is, definitely check it out. Um, Evaluations, just making sure that the agent's performance is good. I think that's one of the things that we all run into when we're building agents is that we don't never necessarily know if agents work well. So there's just additional features that help you monitor the performance of these agents, right? You get this like a wonderful CloudWatch dashboard where you can get additional information such as correctness, helpfulness, and you can also do some custom specific business specific evaluators. Uh, Few enhancements when it comes to agent core, some such as episodic memories. What is the benchmark for determining whether the agents are working or not? Well, right. I don't know. Depends on your business, right? If you have a agent that orders pizza all the time and it doesn't order pizza all the time, it's probably a bad agent. So you can create a metric how many pizza orders failed or stuff. So yeah, um, it's something that we depending on what your agent is supposed to do, you can define these custom things. Of course, correctness is one of those things, and there's a way to measure correctness, I think, built in, but yeah. Um, Last but not least about the Agent Core is there's additional features to Agent Core memory, Agent Core runtime, and Agent Core identity. Now, specifically, one of the things I want to highlight here is Agent Core memory, episodic memory. In essence, it allows the agents to learn from experience, right? What it does, it creates this long-term episodic memory of stuff that has happened. If you have a customer that uses your agent to do certain things, it will remember certain elements of interactions with that customer and keep those things in memory. So the next time your customer comes up, is like, oh yeah, we talked about that, or I know your preferences to fly Delta or whatnot. I built this myself using an MCP server for my own local agents, but this is a built-in feature now in Agent Core. So if you are building agents that need to interact with people as people, episodic memory is definitely a very good and it alleviates a lot of the customer frustrations. So definitely check those things out. Um, there's a SageMaker ML Flow, serverless ML Flow capabilities, additional SageMaker stuff, which is always good. What this thing does, it basically customers who were using ML Flow were using servers, right? But now you can do it in serverless. So that's kind of a thing. Just chalk up to a serverless thing. We have new models from Mistral on Bedrock, and these means Mistral Large and Ministral 3. So always good to see our French models showing up in Bedrock. Shout out to the French. Wonderful. Multimodal retrieval from knowledge base. I hate the word multimodal. Um, Multimodal retrieval for knowledge bases. In essence, if you use Bedrock knowledge bases, instead of just retrieving text, you can now retrieve multimodally, right? In essence, you can have stuff from video, stuff from audio content, image-based queries. It's not just text. In the past, you had to literally just parse text, store it into a vector database, and now you no longer have to do that. You can do that across text, images, audio, and video, which is excellent. I'll be honest, I have so much video content, and like I just want to chuck it all into a knowledge base, and I want to ask a question about a video I've done in the past. Yeah, this is great. Training plans, additional training plans. This is just basically ability to use flexible training plans and to support inference endpoints, just giving you guaranteed GPU capacity for planned evaluations and certain, when you have production peaks. Eagle. Eagle actually stands for extrapolation algorithm for greater language and model efficiency. It's a technique that speeds up large language models by speeds up large language model decisions, decoding, by predicting future tokens. It predicts future tokens from like hidden layers of the model. So you have now Eagle supported by SageMaker. In essence, it gives you a way. Um, it's part of inference. Yes, yes. So it's inference optimization. I think it currently only supports a couple of models. The example here uses Quen, but I don't know if all models are supported, right? So in this example, you see this, uh, the number of OTPS, and OTPS stands for, I don't know what's the OTPS stands for. Um, in essence, bigger is better. So yeah, um, but this is for inference. Bidirectional streaming. So for SageMaker AI, so SageMaker interfaces now also support when you are having an inference endpoint, you can actually stream data to the endpoint instead of just receiving the streamed data back. So if you have specifically when it comes to like maybe machine to machine talking, you can stream data into one and then also stream the data back. And this just kind of improves that like things like speech to text is a great example of this. Instead of just having to drop in the entire audio file and create latency, you can just stream speech and then return text. For folks out there, they're using QuickSuite, and we at Amazon use QuickSuite a lot. You have this embedded chat basically in it, so it's a great feature. So I do love it. It's my work AI assistant. Um, you can now generate tests for automated reasoning. Automated reasoning is this whole super deep math thing when it comes to Amazon Bedrock, but now you can basically um, use natural language to create tests for Q&A. Bedrock just released service tiers. Now, service tiers are basically just um, um, prioritization, if that makes sense, when it comes to your workload costs, right? If you have a workload that's like not incredibly urgent or real time, you can select something like a flex thing. It's going to give you, lower costs compared to something like priority or reserved, right? So it's just an additional way for you to guarantee that you have specific capacities for your Bedrock workloads, and also even reduce costs on certain things you don't care. So I have a tool that I built and uses Bedrock, and like I use it once every full moon, and I don't necessarily need priority access. Flex is fine. Additionally, now you can use direct code deployments for Agent Core, right? You can basically upload a zip file with code, and like you could do with like Lambda throughout the console, so for like quick prototyping, and yeah, like it's great. It's just a great way for you when you're using Agent Core runtime. So wonderful feature. There's additional image editing stuff in Bedrock. Sure, it's great. If folks out there who use like Stability AI image services, just scaling, painting, upscaling, and whatnot. So it's there. It's to help you fix images. Web grounding. Okay, web grounding is a feature I mentioned in one of the Nova announcements, but it's a built-in tool. It's basically a built-in tool to Nova models that it can ground itself. In essence, it will retrieve and incorporate public information with citations and context for its responses. It's a very complicated way of saying it's going to Google stuff and it's going to make sure that it's correct, well, based on the internet and what it does. So yeah, it's instead of just hallucinating information, it's going to go ahead and check stuff. So nothing terribly new, but this is part of Amazon Nova models right now. Um, Multimodal embeddings, with the announcement of multimodal search in knowledge base, you have now embedding model that supports documents, images, video, and text, right? So no, and audio. So you can use this model specifically to perform embeddings. Embeddings is just a way for you to get certain things into a vector database, and you need an embedding model to do that. There's a bunch of additional announcements here that comes to Bedrock and like Opus 4.5 is available and Bedrock and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely those things are there. Okay, last 30 minutes. App integration and serverless. Just getting a sip of coffee. Um, I think this is usually one of my favorite parts of reInvent because I'm a huge fan of like just serverless and your typical application development. So I do love talking about certain things here. So Amazon API Gateway now supports MCP proxy, basically allowing you to transform your existing REST API. So if you have a REST API that provides certain things into an MCP compatible endpoint. Um, in essence, if you have API endpoints that provide certain data, for example, documentation or even ordering a pizza, right? You can actually enable an MCP proxy uh, using Amazon Bedrock Agent Core Gateway Service, and you can securely convert this REST API to be something that an agent can talk to. It's fantastic, right? Like you don't have to build an MCP server yourself that runs locally, but you can have something that's available already to act like an MCP server based on an API that runs in API Gateway. So I think it's great for folks out there building MCP servers. Really. I know I haven't had breakfast by the way, Kathy. So just so you know, I keep talking about pizza. Uh, I hope the people in person at least have some pizza or something. Hey, it's that's why you go to in-person meetups, among other things. Lambda durable functions. Okay, so this is a big launch, and I actually have my friend Eric has given me an example to show you here. Durable functions. It's an in essence, and they don't want me to say this, but in essence, this is a way for you to do step functions without step functions. Let me give you an example. So I am gonna bring something up here. Wait a second, I have a thing here. So I'll close this off. The code currently doesn't matter. Bear with me. Tmux, and let's do CD front, CD front end. Okay, I'm gonna npm run dev. Wait a second. nvm use. Look at me using node again. Um, I know demo punishment. Wait, you'll see me struggle. That. Okay. So there is a coffee shop here. So if I do barista, does this work? This works. Okay, cool. So there's a coffee shop open right now on my local host, and it's an application that allows people to order coffee. So as an attendee, I can go here and I could say I want a 16-ounce espresso with an extra shot because sure. Um, I place this order. Okay, order is placed, and it's in a queue automatically. If I go to my local host and barista, there's a thing here. There's an espresso in the works, and I can accept it, and I can say accept. Excellent. Go back to the thing. It's gonna say something. It's been preparing, right? It's probably in this queue. Something's happening, and as a barista, I can go ahead and say, I think this should move to preparing. I think it should move to preparing. Okay, and if I do complete, the coffee is going to be complete. I don't know if this thing refreshes, but sure. In any case, hey, it's my thing here. But there's a process that happens here that is very asynchronous. In a sense, um, it is there's an order, there's an acknowledgement order of the order, there's the processing of the order, and there's the well, the delivery of the order. What if I told you all of this thing runs in a single function execution? But Darko, that's an expensive function execution. This function is sitting there waiting for 5 minutes. Um, yes, but what durable functions actually gives you is the ability to suspend the function until something happens, right? So in the past, well, even now, but like you can do this with step functions. Like you have this massive chain of step functions that like do this and then do that and then invoke this function and like this whole workflow you enable. You can actually do this now inside of Lambda by using the durable functions SDK. In essence, it shuts down the Lambda function. It doesn't cost you anything, and the Lambda function can wait up to a year, which is a lot, right? But you can basically contain all of your workflow logic within the function itself. It is a very again, it's nothing revolutionary because you could do this with step functions before, but as a person who loves to stay in a single source code file, it's an excellent way to do it. I will show you a little bit of the code. I have something here, SRC. Where is the coffee orders? And there's the index TS. Um, there is a whole SDK. It doesn't support all languages right now, and I know internally that there are certain people who are working on getting a Rust SDK available for this. But in essence, it's a bunch of functions here that are just kind of waiting on like um, basically you have durable context, right? Like this is the context that comes into these specific functions, and it's waiting for the specific step, and it's a whole thing. I do highly suggest you look at the SDK documentation to see how this is implemented, and there's a great starter example. But this thing that I showed you is just to illustrate like a proper practical use case of such functions in this like very asynchronous way. In my example here, I think my timeouts are just like 2 minutes, right? Which is insane for a Lambda function. You should not have a Lambda function run for 2 minutes. That's not a thing. Um, but you can actually wait up to 1 year and run, which is shenanigans, right? So yeah, take that drink for the Rust SDK. Okay, back at it. Where's my thing? There. Okay. Okay. AWS Lambda managed instances. You can now run Lambda functions on EC2 instances. What? Yeah. So if you require specialized hardware or a specialized, EC2 instances for your Lambda functions, or even if you have very predictable workloads, you can actually run Lambda functions on EC2. Sounds like an oxymoron, but you can actually run Lambda functions on servers, which you have on EC2. So it's great. There's obviously a use case for such a thing. So yeah, it's excellent. If you like need specific like GPUs or like some networking capacities, it's a really good way for you to use the whole thing um, 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 to use the same experience as building Lambda functions, but now on EC2 instances. Math is saying since the function is waiting, there must be a listener for a resume. I don't know about I don't think there's like a billing for the listener process. I don't know exactly the technical approach how it works, but in essence, it basically shuts down the function and it keeps checking or something like there's like an event trigger, right? That happens for that. I don't know the technical implementations here. My friend Eric Johnson, if you know Eric, he has actually written a blog post on that. So if you search for Eric on social media, you will find content on durable function that he has done. So definitely. Rob says we can use GPUs with Lambda on EC2. I'm gonna assume that that's the case. I don't really know. I haven't tried it yet, but according to the stuff here I have is specialized hardware. So I'm gonna assume that accounts for GPUs. So you can use GPUs on Lambda functions, right? There's a way for you to attach a GPU to a Lambda function. So but I would assume this would make a lot more sense when like on a big EC2 instance. So. Uh, but I don't know. So food for thought, friends. Um, Private integration with the ALB for API gateway. So basically, it's adds the API gateway and the REST API support for private integration with application load balancers. Right before this, API gateways connect to private application load balancers. You have to have a network load balancer in front of the LB. With this new feature, you no longer need an LB in front of it. So yeah, that's it. Makes it simpler. Um, yeah, Claude, that's kind of a way to do it. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So this is how it works. Like this is how it used to be. NLB, you no longer need an LB. Glorious. And I love the old EC2 icon here. So shout outs to the old things. Step functions. We mentioned step functions in the terms of durable functions, but there's an enhanced test state for step functions. Basically, it just gives you additional ability for local testing, which is always a good thing, especially when working with serverless applications. Yeah, tenant isolation for Lambda. So this is a function. All functions run are isolated from each other. Just so you know, that's the thing. However, two users can use the same Lambda function invocation, right? There's this whole thing when a Lambda function invokes, it starts a container that processes stuff on it, and then two people can technically use the same thing. Now you can actually enable tenant isolation, right? You can basically isolate these execution environments of Lambda during function invocations. Just if this is something that you if you need to do it, this is a good way to do it. But just so you know. Um, REST API streaming in Amazon API Gateway. Streaming is kind of one of those things that we we keep using, especially when it comes to agents. And when you need like time to first token, like this example is doing the exact same thing. Instead of just waiting there as a blank screen, it streams the response directly from the API. I think this is an excellent feature, especially because people are just don't like to look at a blank screen for a long time. So yeah, you can now stream responses back. Developer portals, this is just basically a simple way for you to build developer portals for your APIs. They're built basically integrated straight into the API gateway and like offers like API products, interactive try it functionality for this API, and of course documentations for your API portfolio. So just excellent. Huge fan of documentation. Also, if you're using coding assistants, it's a great way to expose these kinds of documentations to your coding assistants. Okay, the biggest news of the year, friends. It is here. Finally get to talk about something. You can we have GA for Rust and Lambda. There we go. By the way, I've been using Rust and Lambda for a long time now, and but this is finally is now generally available. That means we offer full support. It's nothing is new. It's still the same thing. It's still the exact same experience. It's just finally GA, right? There we go. Beer me. There we go. Um, I love it. Yeah, so it's available now. It's sure. We give you an SLA for Lambda functions that run Rust right now. So, Steve Radish is asking, Agent Core runtime does something like this, a tenant installation for each user session is this thing for security, which is great for Lambda. Often it would be a negative given cold starts. Exactly. So if you decide for tenant isolation, you're going to have badder. I can't speak English today. You would have worse performance because of tenant isolation, but sometimes that is absolutely required. So, um, it's the best language there is for, I would say Rust is the best language for LLMs. I don't want to say Rust, but I would say a lot of the compiled languages are really good for LLMs because you get to catch problems, code problems very early on. So at least that's has been my experience with it. So if you haven't learned Rust, now's the time. Okay, a visual rule builder for EventBridge. It's EventBridge is I think my favorite service on AWS. It's just an event bus, and now you can create these visual rules. In the past, there was just you have to look at this blank JSON. Now it's just a way nicer way to do it yourself. So I highly suggest people who are getting into EventBridge to check this one out because it definitely helps you do stuff. Serverless MCP server supports ESM or event source mappings right now. So it's a ESM is basically a powerful mechanism for integrating Lambda with stream and queue-based resources. Just a great way for you to now you can with the serverless MCP server released back in May 2025. It's a project we have, right? It gives you additional capabilities such as event source mappings. So if you're building MCP servers with serverless MCP server, it's a great feature to have. And there's a couple of additional things like Node.js 24, I guess, for people to use the Python 3.14. I think Python 3.9 is gone, just so you know. Keep an eye out on that in Lambda. So yeah, a bunch of stuff um, available. Okay, developer tools, management, and governance. We're almost there. 15 minutes to go. 40 slides left. Transformation of AWS support. AWS support, fun fact, I started in AWS support 10 years ago. There's additional changes to how the support works by offering specific AI-powered assistance 24/7, but also like shorter response times for Business Plus. There's different categories and unified operations. So folks out there using AWS Premium support, shout outs to Premium support. Always love my Premium support folks, but there's additional support plans now. Is that how you know me? Maybe that's how you know me, Jim. I don't know. For 2 years of my life, I was a support engineer. It was great. Um, DevOps agent. This is the first of the frontier agent. Basically, this is an agent. I'm not a fan of the name, I'll be honest, but this is an agent that basically helps you triage incidents. So if an event occurred in the middle of the night, instead of you trying to troubleshoot all of these things, the DevOps agent basically helps you triage these things, investigate the problems, and have you fix it. So it's just a great way for you to kind of like um, improve your operations. Unified Management CloudWatch, basically, it's just a way for you to unify operational security and compliance data, just everything in one place. Just eliminates the need for like separate log stores and whatnot. So yeah, great. IAM policy autopilot here you secure, but let me show you this. I have a demo for this. IAM policy autopilot is an MCP server, sure, but it's also a command line tool. Hmm. Let me show you something. It doesn't support Rust, first of all, so dead to me. But it is a command line tool built in Rust that takes your source code and hear me out deterministically produces IAM policies. So I have a little service here. I think if I do S3 service, there's a little JavaScript thing that I think copies files or lists files from S3, right? Um, if I run IAM policy, let me see, policy autopilot with generate policy, right? And pipe it into JQ. It's gonna take that file and it has the AWS SDK spec available locally. And if I do this, it's gonna produce a policy that basically aligns with what this piece of code does. And it doesn't use it. There's no AI. No AI here. It's deterministic, which is glorious. I love it. So instead of just asking AI, generate me this thing, and it starts to hallucinate permissions, this thing is a really good way to get you there. So big fan of it. It does come with its own MCP server. So if you have a coding assistant, you can install this thing as an MCP server. It's an open source tool, by the way. And with that, it's going to able to provide your coding assistants the ability to run these tools. So excellent, excellent. Not really excellent, no Rust support, but sure. Okay. Public preview of the AWS MCP server, right? This is an additional server. Basically, it's an MCP server that consolidates all of the other AWS MCP servers. There's a knowledge, all of the knowledge services into a unified interface. So yeah, it's able to like access documentation and executing over 15,000 API calls. So it's a public preview because we want to make sure that this MCP server is good. But if you are using AWS a lot in your coding assistants or with agents, check out the AWS MCP server and see how it works for you. Delete protection for logs. That's the thing. You can just enable delete protection for log groups right now, which is important for certain logs that cannot be deleted. Automated management service quotas. Basically, it will automatically manage your service quotas if you start reaching them. So I do encourage folks to enable this, unless you are concerned about overuse. But if you have production applications that need to be scaling with and service quotas, and you don't want to go ahead and monitor them all the time by yourself, automatic quota management is a good way to do it. The king is back, friends. Welcome home. Code commit is back. This has never happened, friends. We use the word here, de-emphasis, but code commit was deprecated for a while, and it has risen. It's back. We have code commit back again, and we realize that people need code commit. So code commit is back right now, and yeah, it is there. It's a critical piece of infrastructure. The fact that you have a Git repo that has IAM integration, VPC endpoint support, and all those things. Yeah. So code commit is back. Yeah, thank you. I have so many projects that relied on code commit, and I was like, why is this? Why is this gone? But welcome back. Welcome back, King. There's features in CloudFormation, deployment ordering for stack sets. In essence, you can have you can order in which for which order should specific stack sets be deployed in CloudFormation templates. Controls, additional controls for Control Tower, for folks out there using Control Tower, which is a wonderful feature. CloudTrail insights for data events. You can get some specific insights for like unusual API activities and whatnot. So required tags. Okay, these policies are just enforcing folks who create resources using like CloudFormation, Terraform, or Pulumi uh, to include the required tags. Like, so if every one of your buckets needs to have a pizza tag, you have to include it right now, otherwise it will fail. You can transfer billings for AWS organization. Basically, it's just you can centrally manage and pay bills, which is an excellent thing, I would say, for folks out there in big orgs. Um, CloudFormation, weirdly enough, finally has its LSP or language server, uh, which is great. And if you, it's almost great. If you use VS Code, like in this case, and you have the AWS toolkit installed, you can actually use the LSP here to uh, basically help you write AWS resources, right? So if I do like type and select that, AWS, come on, you can do it. It's come on, type, right? Type like that. No, there we go. Okay, sure. AWS. It's buggy for me for some reason. I don't use VS Code. It's probably me. But in essence, you can create resources. Well, you can finally write good CloudFormation code if you write it manually because it supports all the resources. It will tell you what's the problem. It will even complain where you're doing stuff bad. So I'm trying to do something here like, let's do a bucket. I'm really trying to do it type. There we go. AWS S3 bucket. And then I will do properties. And then you will see here, it will complain. I don't know how you do that. There we go. So um, it will tell me which properties, but it's gonna tell me ultimately that like I'm missing like version control, like using specific like CFN linters and whatnot. So it's gonna be able to tell me all of these things as I'm writing CloudFormation code. So CloudFormation code has gotten easier to write over the years, and with the advent of an LSP, it's even better now. So okay, moving on. Drift aware change set. If you're not aware, drift is a thing. What happens when writing infrastructure as code and you make changes manually? So in essence, we have the feature is that drift aware change sets basically provide you a three-way diff between a new template, last deployed template, and the actual state. So when you make these change sets, it's actually going to be aware if some drift has happened in the between. Um, Excellent. Early feedback of CloudFormation, basically just early validations into deployments. You don't have to wait for things to be deployed. Syntax validation, resource schemas, all those things. One of the things that always troubled me with CloudFormation is that you deploy and you kind of wait for a long time and then a failure happens. With change sets like this, you can kind of catch those things pretty much early on now. Angela, yeah, Buck, yeah, that would be fair. I would have had to do something better. Kiro is GA. Well, there you go. I mean, we've been all using Kiro for a long time, but now it's GA. So I guess there you go. Has a bunch of features like property-based testing. Kiro powers are here now. Excellent. So it's GA now. If you haven't been using Kiro, I definitely want to invite you all to give it a shot. It's been my tool of choice for a while, especially the command line version of it, because that's where real developers live, right? Only the command line. Um, it's not true. Automatic enrollment, basically all of the accounts that are a part of your organizational unit can automatically, sorry, enrolling AWS accounts to Control Tower uh, by moving them to an OU. Anytime you move an account to an OU, it will enroll an account into a Control Tower. Excellent feature for folks out there managing a lot of accounts. Shared memory metrics in CloudWatch. This is just an additional feature for agent to kind of collect additional metrics from an EC2 instance. Um, Mapping SDK operations to IAM actions. In essence, it's easier to map a certain act, like for example, a specific operation into it's easier to map a specific action to an IAM operation. So just making sure that IAM is easier for folks out there. So yeah, it's just you know calling a specific service, which IAM permissions do I need? And there was tool in the past that built this, like Ian Mackay created wonderful tools that kind of help you do this. But yeah, now we have these things as well here by just basically calling the service reference here. So um, moving on. MCP proxy for AWS is generally available. It's a client-side proxy. Uh, Basically, it allows you to connect to your AI applications to MCP servers on AWS. It's just an easier way to host MCP servers on AWS and just have this proxy in between. Ultimately, we're people who build MCP servers on AWS. We want to make sure that it's easier and a good way for you to do this. Okay. Other announcements, a bunch of other stuff happening here. Security things. Okay. Um, Security agent. This is a new frontier agent as well that we have announced. It's basically a thing that can help you conduct security reviews, pen testing, and a bunch of other stuff. Just making sure that your application that wants to go into production has a bunch of security stuff. So pointing your agent at your code is a great way to do a quick design security review. There's near real-time risk analytics in Security Hub. Basically, it's just checking these like specific advanced threats happening inside of your applications, getting signals from a bunch of places, guard duty, inspectors, Security Hub, all those kinds of things. There's an extended threat detection for EC2 and ECS, additional features for guard duty, just finding additional improving threat detection for these things. For both EC2 instances like ECS clusters. AWS login. Okay, love it. So to configure AWS credentials locally, you no longer have to go and download credentials, put them in AWS configure, and you can literally just do AWS login with your command line utility, make sure to have the latest one, and it's going to set up credentials locally for you, no problem. So this is what I've been doing constantly. Wonderful, wonderful. IAM outbound identity federation. Basically, you can federate your IAM identities externally using JWT. So wonderful. Malware protection for backup, just making sure that when you do backups, there's certain scanning happening in those backups that you don't back up something that's already infected. So fun stuff for ransomware, I guess. Post-quantum certificates, more quantum stuff. Simplified machine-to-machine authentication. This is when it comes to Amazon Cognito. There's a change in pricing because in the past they didn't have specific machine-to-machine pricing. Okay, couple more token service supports IPv6. Business applications. I'm going to quickly run through the business applications because folks using Connect, you can use now Bedrock knowledge base in Connect. You can use MCP support in Connect, and you can use multi-skill agent scheduling in Connect. I don't know how many of us run Connect as call centers, but Connect has been a very important service at AWS, and we've been expanding all kinds of agentic stuff into it. Persistent agent connections in Connect that you get faster agent response times. Conversational analytics in Connect. Again, a lot of those features coming into Connect, and a bunch of additional things being launched. With 3 minutes to spare, my friends, I do highly suggest you all sign up for a Builder Center account where you can see a lot of the content there. I think there's going to be reInvent content there. I'm not sure. People can correct me on this, but we've shared a lot of reInvent announcements and things in like specific reInvent spaces. I hope that we're going to be hosting this content on reInvent on Builder Center as well. So if you do not have if you don't have access to Builder Center, that's the thing. It's free. You don't have to do anything. Sign up. You can follow me. I do Rust content there if you want to see Rust content. And if you want to stay connected with us developers, there's a bunch of social media stuff we do. My team does, the AWS developers, LinkedIn handles, Twitter handles, Instagram. We even have a collective on Stack Overflow. I don't have my my LinkedIn details here, but if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, search for Darko Mesaros, my name. I think it's somewhere here. You can go search for my name and help me reach 15,000 followers. I'm like at 14,972 or something like that. I need to get to that big number here. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. Yes. And with that being said, that's it. All the talks and everything we've done at reInvent are available on YouTube. So there are a lot of talks associated to these slides. So if you want to actually see these things in action besides just me stumbling around with them, all of these things exist as links on YouTube. So definitely can dive deeper into this thing. Okay.
You did
Done.
it.
Ha! Look at that.
Darko, right on time.
Hey!
Everybody in chat, show Darko some love. That was a lot of talking, and it was amazing as usual. Please do follow Darko and all the other developer advocates on social. I will be getting this out to the user group leaders. And Darko, my word, thank you. Please go get a pizza.
I'm
That was
actually
a lot.
I have some stew going on in a slow cooker today, so I'm gonna have some
Ooh,
stew. But yes, I appreciate folks being in the chat and spending 2 hours, giving me 2 hours of your day. That's a lot of time. So thank you so much for giving me your time, and I hope this was worth it. Um, stay connected to your AWS user groups and join meetups and come and meet in person. That's always fun. And I hope to see you at a meetup or a user group near you sometimes this year.
sounds good. And we will see you in June at a summit, I'm sure.
Oh
Hopefully.
yes, absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All
Okay,
right. Thanks,
friends.
Darko. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Stay warm.